in a remote cabin in the woods. The man ran out of it in a panic. Something terrible seemed to be after him. When he hid in a scrap car, a heavily armed woman chased after him with a zombie. Such a frightening scene. The man was instantly stunned. "I want to get your body, but you want my life." Just see the woman with a gun break the car window, open the door, and put the zombie inside. I have to say, the neighbor is a ruthless person. They keep the zombie as a pet. Soon a family of 5 came to the cabin in the woods on vacation. They didn't even know a perverted woman was living nearby. The 3 kids were adventurous and soon arrived to explore the deep jungle. It didn't take long for them to arrive outside neighbor's cabin where the zombies were kept. Colin was very excited to see so many cars. He didn't know that every car was a human life. As soon as he sat down, he touched an unknown liquid on the steering wheel. The smell was unpleasant and overwhelming to him. At that moment, a car drove back, and they rushed to hide aside. A neighbor stepped out of the car with 2 unlucky people in tow. It was another buffet she had prepared for the zombies. Not knowing why, they saw the scene and thought 2 men and a woman were in the room together. So they must be playing poker. So in their curiosity, they hid outside the window and peeked in. Watching them both move towards playing poker, a neighbor first poured the red wine, and they drank it all without hesitation. Immediately after, they began to dance. This scene is also the window. They look more and more excited. But this is no ordinary red wine. One of the men was just about to take off his coat and immediately fell. Seeing his companion fall, a man began to panic, but he did not last a few seconds and also collapsed. The neighbor closed the curtains and prepared to start the next move. Watching them here, they were still very curious and went to the other side to continue peeping. Unexpectedly, they saw a horrible scene. The neighbor dragged the body and placed it in front of the room. Then a zombie appeared and began to eat. See here, they finally began to fear, turned around and ran away. Halfway to the car, Colin picked up a stone and smashed the window. This aims to attract the killer's attention so that the man inside the house can take advantage of the opportunity to escape. As expected, the neighbor heard the sound and immediately left the room. This method not only did not save them but also brought trouble to themselves. The neighbor did not panic and returned to the room, putting on the equipment, with a gun and ready to go out to kill. At the same time, they also returned to the cabin. They rushed to tell their drunken father, Roger, what they had seen. Roger was interested when he heard that beautiful women were using living people to raise zombies. Put on his coat, grabbed his axe, and was determined to meet her in person. Before leaving, he didn't forget to ask Lisa to take a posthumous photo of him. But Summer and Jason looked at their father, walking and peeing while he was stumbling around. They were worried that he wouldn't be able to beat the woman. Roger was confident that he was the strongest in his drunken state, so they led him to their destination, and soon they were outside the house. Without any tactics, Roger just waltzed in, but he found no one in the house when he pushed open the door. So Roger sat directly on the couch and waited for the woman to return. At this point, the neighbor had already killed his wife in his house. Colin just went into the toilet to pee. Lisa in the living room heard a knock on the door. She thought Roger was back, so she opened the door decisively. The neighbor barged in without saying anything, pinned Lisa to the table, and beat her. Lisa's fight back was useless. The neighbor knocked her unconscious with a head hammer. The horrific scene by the toilet Colin saw scared him halfway to pee, and he quickly turned off the faucet. The neighbor was approaching the toilet. Colin rushed to escape through the window. The neighbor did not find him. Now, the other side of them is still waiting in the cabin, dumbfounded, still not knowing that something has happened at home. Roger, an alcoholic, even drank the poisoned red wine on the table. By the time they found out, Roger had completely passed out. It's terrible to have such a confused father. They had no choice but to find a place to hide him before the neighbor returned. That's when Jason accidentally found a cellar. They were just about to hide their father when they suddenly heard a noise from a cupboard. They crept to the cabinet, thinking that it was a zombie inside, but they opened the door and realized it was the man the woman had tricked during the day. But Jason's axe had already cut through. They tried to explain, but the man did not believe them and tried to escape. Just around the corner of the stairwell, the zombie suddenly appeared and jumped on him. They tried to rescue the man, but he was already dead. The zombie also found them. See the zombie step by step. They can only choose to face the battle, but the zombie fell into the cellar, which was just opened. They saw it and closed the cellar door. Then they hid their father in the storage room under the stairs. At that moment, the man who was just bitten also began to mutate. They throw him into the cellar before he turns into a zombie. They had to go home and get Lisa and Colin to help them, but halfway there, they met Neighbor, who was returning with the zombie. They hid under a tree and watched Neighbor go away. then continued to go home. I didn't expect blood all over the floor when I entered the house. Following the blood trail, Summer saw Lisa's stepmother lying on the ground. It has turned into a zombie. They were discussing what to do when Lisa, who had completely mutated, pounced on her and was knocked down by Summer with a stick. This damage does not affect the zombie, and Summer is knocked down. Jason tried to help but became the target of the zombie attack. At the critical moment, Colin heard the sound and came in time. He used his gun to kill the stepmother. After calming down, Colin tells them all about the neighbor's visit. They also told them their father was still hiding in the neighbor's house. They had no choice but to rescue the unreliable father. They went to the warehouse and armed themselves with everything they could use. After everything was ready, they soon arrived at the neighbor's house. The neighbor was waiting for them with a zombie. The battle to rescue their father began immediately. The neighbor immediately opened fire, scaring them to hide by the car. Then neighbor began to give orders. The zombies were rushing in front. She hid behind the zombies and fired. A zombie soon set eyes on Summer, and she immediately got into the car. Using a ploy, she locked the zombie inside. She managed to get her neighbor's attention. Summer dives down and avoids her. Jason's side also took out a zombie. Then he shot neighbor, and a zombie pounced on him before he could rejoice. Colin was caught on the spot. His shot did not knock down the zombie. Jason saw the situation and rushed up to the zombies head to hit hard to save Colin. But after they returned to their senses, they found that neighbor was missing from the ground. But now, they cannot care so much. So they rush into the house to save their father. They blocked all the doors and windows to prevent neighbor from getting back. The house is unsafe. With a room door opening, two small zombies emerged from inside. And then Roger woke up from sleep, also crawled out of the storage room. Too late to explain. Colin rushed forward to pull his father away. Looking at the two small zombies step by step, Jason and Summer had to kill them. After solving the zombie, Summer also explained to his father everything that happened here. But just as they were about to escape, a zombie broke in. But soon, Summer and Jason worked together to solve. Just then, there was a banging sound behind the door. Jason thought it was a zombie, but they just walked over and were put down with an axe. The person who walked in was Neighbor. Looking at the two small zombies on the ground, Neighbor instantly grief. She also has some unknown story, but as a child's father, Roger also cannot allow others to bully their children, so he rushed up and fought with Neighbor. In the confusion, Roger grabbed a sharp knife and stabbed Neighbor in the arm. The Neighbor was also unable to show weakness and immediately pulled out the knife to fight back. If it weren't for Colin's timely help, Roger would have been killed, but Neighbor was also seriously injured, so he took the opportunity to escape. They saw their father bleeding, so they had to leave him, but to their surprise, just as they walked out the door, the neighbor behind him shot the father. He could still be saved, but now he was completely dead. They were scared and ran away. A neighbor came out of the room, cursing and scolding them for killing their children. The neighbor's reason for raising zombies is not simply psychopathy but a desire to not give up her family, who have become zombies. But that doesn't excuse her from hurting others at will. While neighbor was shooting wildly at Summer, who was hiding in the car, Jason drove his vehicle and crashed into her. The dying neighbor is still trying to fight for her life, but Colin doesn't give her a chance and delivers the final blow. At the movie's end, they carry their father's body to the car, ending the unforgettable vacation.